Chris Savino, American Outdoor News. I'm here with my friend and travel companion, Kevin Paulson from Hunting Life magazine, Hunting Life in general.
Yeah. Hunting Life magazine, huntinglife.com. This is, it's crazy that to think about this, but I bought this domain in 2006.
Wow.
And I think we're 17, 18 years now. It's just shocked me.
Well, we've known each other, what, 10, 12 years?
Yeah, I think we started, I think we met in 2010 at SHOT Show. And I think we, interacted prior to that because I remember being on See Me Hunt.
Yep.
And picking up, you had stickers, picking those up at the Harrisburg show.
Oh, that's right.
For See Me Hunt.
Forgot about those.
So, yeah.
I got to get some American Outdoor News stickers then.
Yeah. You need new ones. But yeah, we had met then, and I think, we started ribbing together 2011, 2012.
Yep. Long time.
So.
Now, Hunting Life has evolved quite a bit over that time.
Yeah. We, when I started huntinglife.com in 2007, we were nothing but an outfitter directory. It was, outfitters that I knew in the industry, and we were basically a directory for them, and we had a small blog on the side of the website. And, during that time, it was, that was, I had sold my outfitting business and had seen another directory out there basically send me a tremendous number of leads. And so, my goal was to kind of create that, but not be a booking agent. Because I just I had kind of a distaste in my mouth for booking agents, and so I wanted to be this directory. And 2007 through 2009, we went through obviously a big depression, and during that time, outfitters lost 60% of their revenue. I mean, there were a few that did very, very well, but sheep hunters and big outfitters that did that kind of expensive hunt.
Yeah.
But your average elk operation, declined, dramatically. And so I had to kind of pivot Hunting Life because we weren't going to survive as just an outfitter directory. And so I turned it into kind of a news site and, began to grow it that way. And just kept producing more content. And, I'm a grinder. We've been grinding for, over a decade and a half. So. That's what we do. And in 2022, we launched the magazine for the first time.
Yep.
And 2023, we kind of paused the magazine for a little bit and, kind of brought it back just this last December. So, excited to be back and cranking that out and growing the site.
Yeah, it's funny. We actually discussed buying a magazine a while back, and here we are. We both own magazines.
Yeah. And in fact, the magazines that we were going to buy, Bill Broad owns that now with Outdoor Specialty Group.
Sure. And runs a nice publication, nice operation as well. Yeah,
no, the way I see all of our magazines, and I mean, Outdoor Life, Field and Stream, everybody that's out there. I mean, I've got favorites in the industry, Covey Rise,
sure.
Garden and Gun. I'm happy to read all these magazines. I just don't ever see us all as having any competition. Like, there's so few hunting magazines left that, we all in some way like have to support each other. I feel like, I would love to get like all of the editors in a room and be like, hey guys, let's all work together and grow because,
well, we'll actually have that opportunity next month.
Yeah, at Poma, you're right. Yeah, we just don't have enough, we don't have enough industry people, working together. And like I said, the consumer out there, they're starving for great content. They're constantly looking for good material.
Well, you see in large publications, just print print publications mainly, just falling by the wayside, going from a
Yeah.
monthly to a bi-monthly to a quarterly till non-existent.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially in the shooting industry, I'm seeing, like Harris Publications, like closing last year was just like, that's a huge hit. It was like 20 some titles
Yeah,
just gone. Um,
it is.
and I think we see that even in, ESPN, Sports Illustrated. I mean, Sports Illustrated literally almost went completely under.
Well, they just
And
laid everybody off overnight, just like that.
yeah,
And it was like, you go to work the next day and you don't have a job.
yeah. I still think that I still think there's a market for magazines. And I even, you and I both have digital publications currently, but I even see a market for print magazines. Um, but they have to be produced incredibly well.
Well,
Um,
I don't think that's the problem with it. The problem is the expense and the margins in print
yeah.
publications right now. They're not making money. The cost of production is so high that it's very difficult for them to show a profit, where digital, it is a lot easier for us.
Yeah, I think that it's yes, certainly it's economically feasible to do a digital magazine. It is not, you're right, economically feasible to create really a print publication, unless you're just a pure masochist from a business owner perspective.
And truth is, it's a lot easier to read a publication from your phone or a tablet or your computer, where you have an extra 3 minutes to read an article or, browse a publication. It's so much easier today because everything's at our fingertips. Everybody walks around with a phone.
Yeah,
It's a lot easier to read a publication than get one in the mail, look at it, say, wow, this looks like it's going to be a great issue. You throw it on the coffee table, and before you know it, the next one's coming. You don't have a chance to read that one.
yeah. I think there's still a few that, like I said, I really, I like sitting down on my couch and, having a nice drink and putting my feet up and reading a magazine. And so there are some select publications out there in the hunting world that I still, pick up, and I'm happy to pay the money to
Mm-hmm.
get that, to get that magazine in my house versus even if they had a digital version, I think I would still want the print.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now,
but I don't think there's many like that. I mean, the problem that, we talked about Field and Stream and Outdoor Life, and I loved those publications like in the 80s and 70s.
mm-hmm.
But going into the 90s and the early 2000s, when they started running Viagra ads in the middle of the magazine, and it was like, this mower, and I'm like, why are they running this content? It just became thinner and thinner and less of a quality magazine. And at that moment, I just tuned it out. And,
Yeah.
the times I would read it would be like, in the Jiffy Lube when my car's getting, I'm like, yeah, I'll read it there.
Yeah.
But, it just wasn't worth reading anymore.
So when you grab a magazine, you plop down on your couch, what are you drinking?
Ooh, sometimes bourbon. um, but I'm a very light drinker. So honestly, one one glass, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty much good.
Is it a Chad old fashioned?
It's yeah, it is actually. I do know how to make a pretty good old fashioned. I have Amarino cherries in my freezer, so in my refrigerator. Yeah, I like a good old fashioned, nice and simple.
Yeah. Well, our friend introduced me to them, and that's been my drink ever since. Unless I'm in a tequila mood. Now, we have the Professional Outdoor Media Association conference coming up in 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. I am turkey hunting this week, and then next week I'm spending with my daughter. And then, yeah, May 4th, I fly out. Actually, my daughter graduates with her master's degree on the 4th.
Congratulations.
Attend that. Yeah, I'm going to attend that first thing in the morning and then go jump on a plane and head to Charlotte.
So the last opportunity to buy tickets is Monday, the 22nd.
Yes.
As an outdoor professional, why should people go to the POMA conference?
As an outdoor professional, so as a media person in the outdoor professional world, or as a content creator in the outdoor professional world, going to an event like POMA is all about education and networking. Those are the two biggest reasons to attend this conference. It's you're going to learn from the people who are around you. Mm-hmm. You're going to learn from the content sessions that we have set up at this event. But most importantly, you're going to network with people. You're going to be standing around the campfire in the evenings, having a cocktail or having a soda and having conversations and bouncing ideas back and forth between yourself and them and you, and going back and forth and bringing somebody else into that conversation. And those kinds of conversations are belly-to-belly opportunities that you're just not going to get anywhere else.
Unless you're at a SHOT Show or something like that.
Yeah, but when we go to SHOT Show, I mean, there are individuals there like Brandon Butler that I really want to stand around and have a cocktail with them, or Justin Morrissey. Justin handles the social media for National Shooting Sports Foundation.
Uh-huh.
At SHOT Show, I never get to see him. Yeah. I mean, I literally did get to see him, Friday at 1:00 in the press room, and we got to see each other for all of 4 minutes.
Yeah.
But I don't get to have a cocktail with him. I don't get to go on a walk with him. I don't get to learn from him, and he doesn't get to learn from me. And so POMA provides this, incredibly nice, relaxed atmosphere where I do get to spend that 10 or 20 or 30 minutes with an individual and be able to, ask them the questions like, what are you seeing in the industry? How can I help you? How can you help me? Basically going back and forth. That's the value of going to a conference like this.
Well, from a member standpoint, attending the conference, yes, you do get to learn from your peers. Here, you get to hear what works for them, different strategies, maybe things you haven't thought of, but you also get to spend time with brands on an intimate level and get to know the people behind the brands, get to know the brand itself, what to expect, what drives them, what they're coming out with this coming year. There's so much you can learn and build a relationship with a brand that you would have never had an opportunity to spend time with before.
No, 100%. I mean, getting to meet somebody like a Jeremiah from Palmetto State Armory or a Ryan Rep from Reputation Marketing, and again, having 20, 25 minutes to sit down with them, to have a cocktail with them, to enjoy actually getting to know them on a one-on-one basis. That brings the opportunity for them to get to know who you are, and for you to get to know what they're looking for from a brand perspective, and be able to offer, an opportunity for them that is a win-win. Yep. And, that's how I, have landed a lot of my advertisers was, having those, I call it belly to belly opportunities where you're able to stand, right next to each other and face each other and have a conversation and get to know each other. That's where a relationship is created. Yep. And so there's incredible value in that conference.
And I think this conference in particular, in South Carolina, there's a lot more activities, a lot more sessions where it's more beneficial uh, than some of the conferences in the past.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'm excited about the field trips on Monday. I'm excited about the range day on Tuesday. I'm excited about the content creation sessions throughout the entire conference. Of course, I'm excited about the dinners and the auction and everything that goes along with that.
Yep.
Anytime I can spend time with, my peers in this industry, it has been a win for me. I mean, exponentially. So, I'm really excited about the conference and I'm really excited about spending the time with the people that are out there.
Yeah, I think, the smaller shows uh, are more beneficial than, I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoy going to SHOT, seeing brands, seeing what's coming out, the excitement and the fast pace of being in Vegas. And, I always love steak night.
Of course.
But the smaller shows and like this, or some of the brands hold their own little mini conferences. I find so much more beneficial than going to the big shows. I get a lot of my advertisers and whatnot at SHOT Show, but
Yeah.
these are relationship building.
Yeah, no, 100%. And, from my perspective, I like the intimate opportunity to sit down at a table with somebody and have a real conversation with them about who they are, what they're looking for, and, what I can do for them. And, when I have a request later on down the road, an example of that is, Otis has been at, plenty of POMA events,
Mhm.
over the last decade. And, getting to sit down with Heather for a couple of minutes and learning about what it is she's looking for, learning about what's new coming down the road. And then I know when I have an opportunity to include them in a piece of coverage, it's easy for me to do that because I can pick up the phone and call her and say, hey, I've got, this piece of content coming up. I need this piece of gear in order to help make that content a
Mhm.
little bit better. And, I'm able to get that product and be able to test it and put it in front of my readers and fans and followers. And it's going to make a difference for that brand. It makes a difference for the content that I'm producing. And
Yep.
ultimately, my hope is that it makes a difference for our fans and readers because they're getting to see that, oh, this has been tested. It's been used. It's actually a good piece of equipment.
Sure. Sure. It's relationships are everything. It's not about just your publication or my publication. It's about the relationship, who, what you can bring to the table, where it's not just, okay, I'm selling an ad. I just introduced one of my advertisers to two major brands that could be very beneficial to them, and that's the value.
Yeah. No, 100%. And it's now as a publisher and you have the same, thing that I do as a publisher, the other thing that I'm also looking for as I'm at an event like POMA is I'm out there looking for writers. I'm
Hmm.
out there looking for content creators for, Hunting Life.
Sure.
And so I need to meet with as many media people as I possibly can because I have a magazine to fill. I got, 5 issues in 2025 that I have to fill with content. And that's, 7 to 10 writers per issue.
Yep.
So, if I'm going to have a variety of content for my readers, I need guys that know upland hunting. I need guys that know turkey hunting. I need guys that know AR-10s. I need guys that know long range shooting. I mean, I'm looking for that content. I need people who understand, food and cooking and things like that. Like we need that content. And so as we meet with those individuals at an event like POMA, then I'm able to say, okay, well, this is my editor. Send over some samples of your work,
Okay.
and we take a look at it and we're evaluating to see like, hey, there's a fit here for this individual, or like I really like a Ricky Folger's content, And I really, like, let's contract her to write, a piece. And that's,
Hmm.
that's how it's worked for me in the past.
Do you need anybody to write your cooking section for your upcoming issue?
For this
Because
issue, we
I
have
know a
currently,
guy.
I have somebody, but I do know somebody. Yeah, no, I think that's an opportunity. I mean, why not? Um, and you're in the process of writing a cookbook, so like
Matter of fact, I
it's
am.
I know that. And that's the benefit of like you and I getting to hang out at an event, like that, is that, we know these things about each other. And so that's why these small events and these small trips like this are so incredibly valuable.
Yeah, and in fact, I just made some incredible oxtail this past weekend. That will be in
Yeah, I
the
saw the
upcoming
picture of that.
issue
It
of
looks
American Outdoor
fantastic.
News. You know what? It was so much fun to make, and I did it on my fire pit in a Dutch oven, and it literally just fell off the bone. The flavor was great. I look at a bunch of recipes, and then I'll tweak it and say, you know what? I think I'll add this. I think this will add a little more flavor to it, or take something out. Like this one, I added some red wine because I'm Italian. I love red wine, and I added it into because you usually don't add wine to an oxtail recipe, but
Right.
I thought it would give a little bit extra bite, and it really came out with a lot of flavor. Really came out nice.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Basically, what goes into like an oxtail soup? Just give me the basics. I've never made it. Honestly.
What recipe or what
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
into
Just
it?
give me the. Yeah, we're good. Give me the basics.
Well, basically, I brown a chopped onion. I'll throw in with butter. I'll throw in a little bit of flour to thicken it up. Once that gets a little brown, I'll put in the oxtail, brown the oxtail. Then I'll put in a few cups of beef stock, a little bit of red wine, and then I'll throw in my spices afterwards. And it's basic spices. Um,
Oh, fantastic.
Little salt, little pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, um, some paprika, and just let it simmer. Put it on a low heat, cover it up, let it simmer for 2-3 hours, and it'll literally just fall off the bone. It's more intimidating to make than it actually is to make. It's really pretty easy.
I think I'm gonna add that to my Monday recipe. I plan all my meals out a week in advance. So like, that way when, we go to the grocery store on Sunday morning and, we get all the food that we need for our entire week. And, so yeah, I think I'm going to add that to my, Monday's recipe.
Yeah, I was on a cooking frenzy on Sunday. I did the oxtail on my fire pit. I smoked a brisket on my smoker. I did a chicken on the fire pit, and I smoked some salmon. So
Oh,
that
fantastic.
was my week's dinner.
So we need you to come down to Palma and cook.
I could do that. I could do that. Well, you're going to shoot a turkey this weekend, so why don't you bring it down to Poma and I'll cook it at the event.
I would like that. We actually have a really, really good chef that's going to be cooking for us and actually doing some cooking demonstrations as one of the content sessions. I'm super excited about that.
Nice.
And but yeah, we need to find an opportunity where what you and I haven't hunted together. We room together. We go to all these industry events together. We have steak night at some of the best restaurants in every city that we go to.
Yep,
But we have not really spent time just around a campfire throwing down with food.
that's true.
We need to make that happen.
Well,
Yeah, we need to make that happen. So
I am going to be sponsoring a North Carolina hunting trip this fall. So let's make it happen.
hey, maybe that could be a good opportunity. I like that.
That's
I
not
like
a
that. Tell me a little about the hunt.
It's gonna be either muzzleloader or crossbow, in North Carolina, Virginia border. It's about an hour in from Virginia. Um,
Nice.
it'll be a 3-day hunt and, in and out. North Carolina, you can kill 2 bucks, 2 doe. It'll be a nice
Can't
day.
beat that. Nice over-the-counter tags.
Yes.
Love North Carolina. Virginia's that same way, and I do miss hunting the East Coast. So, hunting out here, we don't have trees.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, I hunt on a ranch that's 6,000 acres, and we've got some whitetail on the property, and we have a lot of mule deer on the property. And although the mule deer numbers are declining right this moment, scares the crap out of me. But that being said, it's there's no trees.
You need
There's
to invest in a ghillie suit.
Yeah, it's a lot of spot and stock, and luckily the ranch has a lot of topography. We've got rolling hills and canyons and things like that, and so you just learn to hunt a different way.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun in and of its own right.
Sure.
And when I'm hunting, I hunt with Elijah, and his father owns the ranch that we hunt on, and it's all open to public land. It's public access. We have a small section that's blocked off specifically for Elijah to hunt in, and that the public cannot go on, and he's the only young man that can hunt on it. But then we still hunt the rest of the ranch, and we're out there hunting with the public. But having hunted it for over a decade now, when the public pressure begins to kind of ramp up, I know where the deer are going to go.
Yeah.
So
One of the
I'm
low
able to
pressure areas right by you.
Yep, able to put the myself and or Elijah in places where they're the escape routes for the deer, and so this last couple of years I've really been going just pure hard on electric bikes, because I'm able to use these electric bikes to get quietly into places that are 3-4 miles off the road. And it just puts me in an advantage that most people just don't have. They have no idea.
You're not working up a sweat hiking in there with all your gear.
No, and it's my November firearm season. It's just always cold. It's Nebraska. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. Occasionally it's warm, but it's pretty rare. But when it's cold, like the last thing you want to do is break a sweat.
Yeah.
Because it just makes your entire day miserable. And so, like I said, utilizing these e-bikes, I'm still pedaling to get in, but it gets me far enough back in a quiet way without leaving a scent trail.
Yeah.
That I can take a quiet cat and get it all the way back in there. And this year, I am excited because I'm hoping that this year we're going to be testing the new Quiet Cat Ranger all-wheel drive. And I used the Quiet Cat Ranger last year, and actually transferred that out to my good buddy Ace, who's going to be utilizing it for coos deer, and hopefully I'm going to get drawn, and I'll get to out and use the same bike again for coos deer. But this new all-wheel drive, it's just an unreal machine. It's got it drives on both wheels.
Oh, wow.
And so it utilizes the electric, and it's actually like, instead of using a bike chain, it uses a motorcycle chain, and all of the gearing is inside the hub of the wheel. So it's protected. So you're like, my problem with the bikes sometimes is like, if you get in really tall grass, the grass catches in the chain.
Yeah.
And you've got to stop and fish it out, and it's just pain in the butt. But this new one has, kind of like I said, it has a motorcycle chain, and it's
all enclosed.
It's all enclosed and just rolls, man.
A lot of torque.
Oh yeah, yeah. And that's really the kicker out there. Any bike you get for a hunting perspective, if you're going to use it to haul game out with a trailer, that's what you have to have the torque. Otherwise, you just burn them out. We've seen some of the hub models that we've tested, and they just won't hold up hauling any kind of a load. The motor just starts to slip, and then you're just toast.
Now they come with the little tow behind trailers that you could drop your game on and drag it out.
Yeah, you have to buy those separately, but they're worth every freaking penny.
Absolutely.
You know, the first time I ever used one of these was probably 7 years ago, and I had the bike in the trailer, and I threw my blind onto the trailer and rode out. And then I rode out 1.5 miles, and I set up in a spot. I had just a couple of doe tags. It was December muzzleloader season. I'd already taken my buck, and had a couple of mule deer doe tags I wanted to fill. And so I rode out to the spot where I kind of always see them kind of come up this hill, and they pop into the cornfields at night. And so I set up there, popped the blind up, just laid the bike down on the side. And 45 minutes later, boom, this set of does comes up, and I had muzzleloader with me and dropped the deer 18 yards from the blind. I mean, mule deer does just don't recognize a hunting blind at all, really.
Yeah.
They're just not. Nobody hunts mule deer with a hunting blind, but when you do, it's so incredibly effective because they just walk right by it. They have no fear of it. They don't know what it is. They're not as wary as a whitetail. Yep. And so this doe she just walked right by me. Drop her. I basically am able to gut her out, put her right in the cart. I took the blind and just strapped it to the back frame on the bike and rode all the way back out to my vehicle. I had everything done. I was back before it was dark. My buddies were like, "What happened?" I'm like, "I mean, what do you mean what happened? I got a deer. It's all done." They're like, "Well, we saw you come back to the truck, but we didn't know they didn't see the deer on the trailer. They just saw me go by, and I'd kind of gone by around them, and they were down in the canyon, and they kind of looked up and saw me, right on by, and they just thought that I'd given up hunting." And I was like, "No, I'm already tagged out."
Yeah, you don't give up.
No, not my nature. So yeah, it was just like, to me, that was just such an eye opener. And then being able to go into whitetail sections and ride down the trail, and then you kind of get set up in a blind and you can watch backwards, and the deer would walk by the trail where the bike had just gone, and they don't even stop to sniff it.
Wow.
And you're like, perfect. Oh, I know right away that's the game changer, because I'm standing on the pedals when a lot of times when I ride in, I'm biking, or I stand up on the pedals and I keep my feet out of the grass and just zoom right in. And for me, that is just like you're getting in without creating a scent trail. And sound. It's so quiet.
No sound's gonna get them jumpy and scatter them out of the area. It's that they'll get that before the scent. But all right, so where can we find your magazine and Hunting Life?
You can find Hunting Life by going to huntinglife.com, and you can go on every social media platform pretty much in existence and search at Hunting Life, and you'll be able to find us. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we are on Pinterest. We are not on TikTok. But yeah, I would be. I'm not opposed to it. I just haven't made that jump yet.
It's another platform to take care of. It's social media is a second job.
Exactly. And right now I got enough jobs, and publisher, website editor, writer, photographer, etc. So
any place for a Hunting Life podcast?
Yeah, people have been asking me that for quite some time, and I have I've honestly resisted, but I think it's probably going to come. I just like I said, I've resisted for a little bit. I like podcasts, and I like being on podcasts. I think running one, I'm not opposed to it, but again, that's just one more thing that we have to promote.
It's time.
And it's time and effort. And, I'd like to find almost somewhere, if I, in a perfect world, I would like to be the publisher, and I would love to find some young kid that's, better looking than I am and has, a bigger voice and let them go run the podcast.
Well, I started the podcast as a way to cross-market the magazine.
Right.
But it really ended up just being another job for me to do every week. And it's, it's fun. You get to, you get some good content, get some, good guests on like yourself or, whoever, I've had on. And it creates opportunity. It expands your talking points. And it's just another media to manage. It's another hat, another job.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's kind of that's the reason I resisted it, is because I didn't want to create another job for myself. But when I got into this industry and I was in the process of kind of like I got in the industry because I owned an outfitting business. And prior to that I was giving money to wildlife groups, and I went a hunt in Montana, and I went on a hunt, and I met this guy, and then, a year later I went out and hunted with him, and then I bought into his business. And then, 3-4 years later I sold after my dad passed away. My heart just wasn't in it at the time. And so I got out of the outfitting business, and I was happy to get out. But I bought HuntingLife.com because I kind of wanted to hedge. The one thing that I loved about owning the outfitting business was talking to other hunters and also doing some of the writing that I was doing. And so when I created HuntingLife.com, I started writing and blogging, right at that moment. And I really enjoyed that part. And, I'd always kind of like listen to a program on NPR called Fresh Air back in the day.
Yeah.
And I really, really liked that program because it was just this, 45-minute to an hour long conversation with somebody about who they were as a person. And I loved that. Now I really love the idea of doing that. And I like I said, I really, really probably enjoy 100% of that. But I also like just as much, I enjoy the writing and the finding the other people to do those kinds of things.
Yep.
And there's 100+ podcasts that I could recommend tomorrow that are all pretty good, and they're doing that work right now. Your podcast, for example, I'm constantly recommending people listen to your podcast. Bruce Hutchin, Robbie Kroger from Blood Origins, Meat Eater, and I love listening to Ryan Callahan for Meat Eater. I mean, honestly, like his voice and his connection to the outdoors, it's epic to listen to. Eric Clark with the OKest Hunter, phenomenal. The No Low Ballers podcast with Alan Faulkner. I love listening to their interviews, and they did like 50 some interviews at SHOT Show this year.
I know. They had booths set up, and it was just nonstop parade of people coming through. It was.
And I think that's. I expect that I really hope and I expect to see more brands step up to that. I think that's a winning model. Like what they did this year with that podcast, that is without question a winning model.
Yep.
And it brought people specifically to that booth, and it was a win for them. And I think that there are some great brands out there that if they begin to go towards that model, they will succeed exponentially in our industry.
Yep.
I got to see one of the best podcasters in the shooting industry back in the day when John Bartolo was around. And I really miss him. He was exponentially just a great guy, but getting to go into his studio in Vegas and see his setup and how they did things and how they ran things, and to I really just enjoy, like, I still, like, occasionally will go back and listen to his podcasts,
Sure.
even though they're all a little dated now. The way in which he ran his podcast was exceptional. Cam Haines is running a new podcast now that's just top, like, it's very much like a Joe Rogan type, podcast.
Yeah.
I like Joe Rogan. I can't listen to a podcast for 2.5 hours.
You know what? I try to keep things within half hour, 45 minutes max. It's people's attention span. You drive into work. Yeah, the half hour. You're going somewhere. You have 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You listen to part of the podcast. I don't have 2 hours, 3 hours to sit and listen to a podcast. I wish I did, but even if I had,
I can't listen to I cannot listen to all of the podcasts that I want to listen to in any given week. I don't really watch. I don't really watch television. I can throw a podcast on while I'm working, and until I take a phone call, and I hit pause, and I take my phone calls, and then I go back to writing, and I put the podcast on, and occasionally I'll stop and listen to the podcast for a second, and then go back to writing. I think there's just, like I said, there's so much great content there. It is, for me, I haven't been able to figure out what separates me from everybody else. And until I can, like, I just need to, like, that's a mental process. Like, I do, know that my voice is very different from yours, and your voice is very different from Ryan Callahan's or a Cam Haines or a Robbie Kroger. We all have our place, and I certainly believe there's no competition. I just know I want to make sure that it's beneficial for my brand. I want to make sure it's beneficial for my readers, fans, and followers.
Sure.
And I want to make sure it's beneficial for the people who come on my podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if I can solve all those issues, we'll go for it.
If you can solve all those issues, we'll have world peace.
Yeah, exactly.
But we are actually running out of time. So I want to thank you for coming on. I will see you in 2 weeks in South Carolina. And we got to sneak away one night, find a steakhouse, and keep the tradition rolling.
I think what we're going to do, I have a plan for that, actually. I think what we're going to do is Thursday, we've got to drive up to Charlotte and fly out. And Koa's coming with us. And I think we're going to find I don't know if we'll be able to do steak, but we may be able to do, like, South Carolina low boil seafood or something. But maybe we'll find a steak place. But we're going to do lunch instead of steak night. We'll be steak day.
We'll find a barbecue place on the way.
There we go. I like that idea. I like a good Carolina barbecue more actually than I like. I'm like, being here in the Midwest, I'm supposed to say I like Kansas City barbecue, but I like a Carolina barbecue better than I like a Kansas City barbecue.
I like barbecue anywhere, so.
Yeah. I hear you. All good. Hey, Chris, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. And I look forward to seeing you grow and this industry grow. And I look forward to seeing people out there in the field.
Sounds like a plan, man. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
You got it, man.